All right. So we are back with another installment of Small Business Sunday, and today we have the wonderful film producer Thomas Crane of killDEVIL Films. I'm so glad to have you on.
Well, anytime. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So you have done some really great work. Now, I was familiar with some of your stuff before we even started this interview. I'm a big fan of Marion Crane and Together in Exile.
Oh, thank you,
I
thank
was
you.
gonna wear my Together in Exile shirt, but it's actually in the hamper. So I I missed out.
His bands are old school, so that goes back years. But but thank you. That's awesome.
So in film production, you have killDEVIL Films. So how did you get that started, and what exactly do you focus on with that?
Um, these days, I mean, that's my job. That's my career. Um, it's, I mean, I do all kinds of types of video production, but I'd say music videos are about 85% of my work. I occasionally will get like regular commercials and just smaller, different kind of projects. And we're starting to get into short films and hopefully a feature film here at some point. But music videos are the primary job I get. And it's fun. I get to, I get to travel a lot. A good, still at least 50-60% of the bands I work with are kind of local to the Tampa area. We're not far from Tampa, but I still get these days a good chunk of work out of state, across the country. So it's fun and it's exciting. I kind of got into it by happenstance, to be honest with you, because I never like went to film school. I never, growing up, I never thought it was something I'd be doing. When I was in high school, I took a media class, and it was a very basic. We had like a school news channel. Like every day, we would have like a 10-minute news broadcast, and it was very simple. And that was the only experience I'd ever had with video stuff. And so then about 10 years ago, 2010, 2011, I was in Marion Crane, and this is when we were actually pretty active. Uh, um, and like YouTube was just getting popular, and we had the great idea to like, hey, let's make our own music video. And we borrowed a friend's camera, and I didn't know what I was doing at all at the time. Only thing I knew how to do was kind of edit a little bit, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then a couple months after that, we did another one. A couple months after that, we did another one. And then every so often, other local bands would ask me if I do one for them. And it was kind of slow at first, but it was just a hobby. I had like my regular 9 to 5, and I was doing that on the side, and never thinking I was going to actually do that for a career. Then at some point in time, I kept getting a little bit better and learning, and I got to the point where I was like, man, I really like doing this. This would be a lot more fun than the current job I have. And so I've been doing it freelance now for about 3 years, so full time.
Oh, so what was the first music video that you did for someone else?
Ooh, it would be somewhere about 7-8 years ago. It's when I still live in Jacksonville. It may have been for a band called Ghost Witch. I think it was them. They're a cool band in Jackson. They're still together. They're kind of like they're like the Misfits meets Johnny Cash or something. They do a lot of acoustic. They do a lot of acoustic, but it's very spooky imagery. You should check them out, actually. Orion, their singer, I've known him for 20 years, 15 years. But I think you would actually really like them. So
send me a link when we're done. I'll definitely check them out, and I'll make sure other people check them out.
I will.
So when you realized this had gone past a hobby, how did you go about deciding killDEVIL is going to be my thing, what I do? How did you start setting that up?
This is a funny story.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so I was working my regular 9 to 5, and I got to that point where I was like, I really would like to do this as my career, my full time. So in my head, I crafted kind of a plan. I was like, well, hopefully 6 months from now, let me like save money, let me really start pushing it, and then my goal is 6 months from now to quit my other job and go full time. About 3 weeks after I made that decision internally, I got fired from my regular 9 to 5 job out of nowhere. So I was kind of at like a fork in the road. I was like, well, I could get another 9 to 5 and then kind of still work towards this, or I could just go for it now. So I chose the second option. I was like, screw it, I'm going to go for it now.
That is bold.
It was, I mean, it was not easy. It was scary, and I really wasn't ready at the time. Like, I don't really feel, in retrospect, I'm like, man, I wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough business coming in to really support myself. So there was definitely an adjustment period that was very hard, but it worked out. So that's good. But that's how that happened. It was.
So I've seen the music videos you've done for Peachy. I saw you did Day Drinking for Eve to Adam, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen the You're Not Perfect videos. Where else could I find some of the videos that you've done?
If you go to my website, it's killDEVILfilms.com. There's a lot of stuff there, but if you go there and you go to the About page, I have the list of every video I've ever done. So.
Wow. So you recently released.
So like, there's literally a list.
You recently released a music video, and this isn't like Marion Crane. This is just Thomas Crane. This is like a solo thing, right?
Yes. I've been like, I started Marion Crane back in like 2008, and it's been my baby for a long time. That's more of a band, and we're all still together. We just really don't get together very often. So a couple of years ago, I started like writing songs outside of that, kind of a little bit of a different style. And, I was like, no matter what, I'm going to go record the song and get it done. And I was a little kind of apprehensive at first. A couple of years ago, the first time I released a song under my own name, because I felt kind of weird about that whole like going solo, like sounds so over dramatic to me. But so I did, the first time was a couple of years ago, and then recently I put out another one in October, and spent a lot of time working on that video. And I wanted to kind of do like an epic story with a bunch of different scenes, and it took me, almost a year to film it, because I would shoot a scene and then I wouldn't have time to do anything else for 2 months, and then we would get together and shoot some scenes, and then another month would go by.
A year.
Yeah, it took about a year.
Well, I've seen it and I've showed it to people, so I've watched that video multiple times, and it looks so, that might be my favorite video of yours I've ever seen. It's so well put together.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So how does it work when you're the one who's in front of the camera as opposed to behind it? How does shooting those scenes sort of work?
For that particular video, like, I guess in general, I could have hired another like director of photography to actually handle my scenes. For that particular video, I didn't. There's several tripod. I set the shot up, I frame it, I have somebody like stand in for me, and I'm like, okay, this is how the shot should be framed and look, and then I jump in front of the camera real quick.
So that's all it is, just jumping in front of the camera?
98% of that is that. There were a couple of like little scenes where I had the other people who are in the video, I showed them like exactly how to do it, and they took over the reins and filmed me, but I'd say like 98% of that is, setting up shots on static shots.
So do you tend to just shoot everything by yourself, or do you ever work with a crew?
So far, on everything I've done, I mean, I'm always the only like person filming. We do have crew from time to time. It really kind of depends on the shoot and what it needs. You know, does it need a makeup effects person? Some do, some don't. You know, uh, does it need any kind of like special pyro or something? Then you definitely have a crew person for that. But usually I do have at least a small 1 or 2 person crew to help with lighting and things like that. It really depends on what the shoot needs. There's plenty of shoots that it's been just me too. So, uh,
So you've also done videos for Saliva and Queens, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what that's like?
yeah, it's funny. Like with Saliva, we did a music video and I did a documentary for them for the 20th anniversary of their debut record that was really big. Um, it's funny because Bobby, the singer, he's been in Saliva for like 10 years now. But Bobby's from Jacksonville, so I've known him since '08. I've known Bobby. He actually played drums before he was in Saliva. He played drums on Marion Crane's original demo. Uh, because it was just me at the time, and I needed a studio drummer, so I hired him to. He did the drums on it. Not very many people know that. But it's been cool working with them. I'm actually supposed to be doing more videos for them coming up soon. Their drummer Paul, he has a new side project with his sons, and I just did 2 videos for them. So it's cool. I've gotten to get to know them and work with them, and there's going to be more. And as far as Queensrÿche goes, I've done 3 videos for Todd Latore, their vocalist on his solo record. Those are all fun and different. You know, one of them we got to kind of make, kind of create like an insane asylum, and then the second one we had a bunch of fire and pyro going, and then this third one we did more of like a socially conscious video using news footage and stuff. So each one's been different, which is cool. And Todd's really great to work with. Awesome guy. He's probably one of the nicest people I've ever met, and he's incredibly talented. So that's always nice.
Oh. So you've just gone from having a hobby to now recording for more major artists.
Yeah, it's yes. It's funny how when you look back now, when I look back now, it's funny to see it get to this point. There was a lot of work and a lot of time and things that people don't see. I did before I even got to Todd and Saliva and those kind of bands. I think I did 90, 100 music videos. So I had to work. I had to pay the dues, so to speak, and I'm still doing that. So it doesn't really happen overnight. So I mean, really, all you can do, whatever industry you're in, is every job do the best you possibly can. And if you work really hard and you put out good quality material, I mean, you're going to grow and do some things.
So I know a lot of people, especially when they're starting a business, starting a company, or even like really just pursuing like a passionate hobby, imposter syndrome sometimes creeps in. Has that ever happened to you?
A little bit. Just so I answer your question correctly, when you say like I've heard a couple of interpretations of imposter syndrome. How
do you ever feel like, what am I doing here? I'm not good enough at this. Like, do you ever just question yourself?
I'd say probably about 300 times a day. It's very difficult for me to watch stuff I do, like videos I've done, because when I do that, I just see everything I did wrong. I see all the mistakes I made, and I was like,
even when your clients are really happy with it.
Yeah. It's so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because it's like, man, why can't I ever just like not see the negative aspect what I did wrong, but at the same time it kind of helps you improve. So you know, so yes, I have that a lot, and I think that's actually a pretty major driver of my own like growth is constantly just like
Do you think that not having gone to film school kind of enhances that?
probably, because I mean, yeah, I've kind of tried to read and gather as much third-party information as I can, but really the best education has just been doing it and trial and error and failing. So yeah, not having like someone like in a class or something telling you how to do it or telling you're doing it wrong, and just having to figure it out on your own. Yes, because
Watching your videos, I never would have known if you hadn't told me.
yeah, well, thank you. It's I think not going is positive and negative. I've like learned. I've had to figure it out on my own. But at the same time, I sometimes question, like, I guess for those who are in video production, if I were to show them my techniques and things I do, they're a little rough around the edges. Uh, I'm used to, it's called running and gunning. Like, I'm used to having to go into a situation really quickly and get stuff done and get out. But I don't know. It sort of gives it its own style at the same time. So I don't know.
So your own like film influences, like who do you look at? You're like, I love that picture. I want a style like that. Like who has really been the influence as far as in your film?
Pretty much. I mean, you've probably heard of all these people. I look at the people I like really enjoy the films, and I think they're really good at what they do. David Fincher is probably like my favorite director. Alfred Hitchcock, Kubrick, Tarantino, Scorsese, like just all of the people you think of when, you know, like they make great movies. And it's like you can watch their stuff and learn from them, and you learn and see kind of like what they do. And, you know, that's, you know, that it's just the classics really. There's a reason why their movies are like so good and timeless, because they're really good. Just hopefully it's like, man, I really hope I can get to that level, or at least ballpark one day, you know. So yeah, that group right there is pretty much my favorites.
So do you just wake up and you're like, I get to make music videos. I get to, you know, like, are you happy where you are with your business right now as a small business?
You know, when I wake up, usually I'm like, man, I really need some coffee. And that, no, I'm kidding. You know, yes and no. I should be like a little happier, but I guess I want to make sure that like I keep progressing towards something, new challenges. I really need to do some film projects, like non-music video stuff. So I'm gonna say like, no, I'm not, because I want to do this stuff that I haven't had a chance to do. You know, I did a short film like 2-3 years ago. I need to do another one. I need to do a full, like, so until I do those things, I'm gonna be like, no. But I should at least look back and appreciate, like, okay, you know, you get to make music videos for a job. That's pretty cool. Because I've worked plenty of other places that wasn't nowhere near as fun. So I am
So
very.
what was your least favorite job?
Oh God. I mean, I did a lot of classic when I was young. You know, I worked fast food. I worked at call centers. You know, I did all that kind of stuff. So probably one of those call centers. I don't know. Yeah, probably a call center doing billing questions.
Oh, I've worked the call center life. It's not fun. But
Yeah,
since you're not in front of a customer, you can make all the faces you want.
It's true.
Like you can mute them and be like, "My God, you're such an idiot," Ugh! And then unmute the call.
It's true. I guess the one cool thing I can one or two couple cool things. It's cool to be able to, for a job, a career, whatever, to be able to do mostly music videos living in the Tampa area, because Tampa's decently big, but it's not anywhere near as big as like LA or Nashville or New York. You know, I mean, I know I get a lot of out of town work, but it's still kind of cool, like, you know, to not have to live in a metropolis like New York or something and be able to do it. And the other cool thing, this is kind of funny, like when I was in school, it'd be like in math class and I'm not paying attention. I'm like zoned out thinking of a weird, like fake or made up characters in my head and a story. And I used to have to like snap back at it and get back to class and figure it out. But now I get to kind of do that for a job. I get to daydream and think of fake characters and stories. So haha, math class. I had the last laugh. So.
Oh God, I love it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna make sure that when I post this, I link people to your page where they can find you. And everyone, check out killdevilfilms.com. Check out the About page to find out a list. If you've got a music video that you need production on, you know, hit them up. And I'm going to make sure that I mail you a Crypnotic goodie box. Thank you for your time. This has been fantastic. And maybe we'll have you back for midweek music maelstrom so we could talk about your music.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It was nice talking to you, and I look forward to that coffee. I'm gonna and that goodie bag.
Yep, you are gonna get some Catfight coffee sent. These are the two that I recommend. I love the Night of the Living Dead and the Alice Cooper blends. Those just, they have the best kick to them.
Excellent. So, Night of the Living Dead is like, you know, top 5 favorite movies ever. So
has to be. All right, we will catch you guys next time for Small Business Sunday. Don't go anywhere.